Hello folks, it's been a while since I posted and my schedule has been really wacky, but that does not matter today because we are talking about the American Civil War. Wow. Oh my. The most amazing and largest war in American history. Well, I wouldn't say the most amazing, but alright, so we're gonna start us off with, kind of talking about it and how Confederates were, although kind of mean, actually really mean. They had a very good military high staff and some of the greatest military generals in history. So let's just start getting into it and start talking about how the, Confederates did so good and were actually winning with less men, which doesn't seem possible. It's like the Russians. If you have more men, easy dub. But the thing about the Confederates is they had geniuses. Well, most of the Union generals were tired, cautious, big, fat, old men. Most of them were just really cautious and were like, I have 200,000 men, and my enemy has 5,000 men. You see, I might lose men if I attack them, and that just doesn't seem right. So, what, I can't speak, Union generals would do is they would just wait and sit there. They would just sit patiently. They would take a little bit of wind, and they would stop. And then, when Mr. Robert E. Lee came around and hammer spanked the frickin', Mr. McClellan, the Union general, McClellan, the Union general, he hammer spanked him so hard that he sent him flying to the moon. So, the reason that is because, Robert E. Lee was this great military general, the greatest almost at the time. I mean, maybe except for some German commanders who were like, American wars? Yeah, these guys don't know the fight. They're still fighting in columns, bro. Imagine. But anyway, I'm going to kind of stay on track. Robert E. Lee was one of the greatest minds of the time. He could mix basically everything together, and he would completely destroy his enemy. He could outflank them, outmaneuver them, just basically, cut them off. And then the Union general, Ulysses S. Grant, knew that his enemy had less men than him, so he used an advantage called using his men and he might lose 1,000 men, but his enemy might lose 900 men, and he can replace those 1,000 men he lost, but his enemy can't replace those 900 men. So eventually, let's say you have 2 million men able to, enlist, and over time, your enemy has let's say 5 million, and your enemy keeps using their men over and over again, and you're slowly creeping down to where you don't have men to replace your losses. So, although McClellan, who was eventually discharged twice and got freaking court-martialed or something, but he was just discharged twice, but the reason he got discharged the second time is because the rest of the Union generals were so bad that straight up, Abraham Lincoln was like, you know what? Screw this, you're coming back. But anyway, eventually when Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee, something like that, I can't speak, my brain's just not processing. It's a big day for me. Anyway, but when they finally came to showdown, Ulysses S. Grant, who was another genius for the time, I don't think he was as smart as Robert E. Lee, but he was smart, no doubt. He knew that his enemy couldn't replace his losses. So what he did, he just threw his men at the battle. The public was like, he's a butcher! He's killing young Americans! But he's also winning the war for the Union. The only reason we took Richmond was because of freaking Grant. Grant, gotta give him total respect. He did eventually become president and then get pulled over while he was in his wagon because he was speeding. So yeah. But anyway, I'm going to kind of go a bit more in depth because I kind of just basically did a rerun of the Civil War in about 4 minutes. So basically the reason why Confederates were just so more prepared is although they didn't have a good military, they didn't have better weapons, they didn't have shoes even sometimes, but they had military minds of the century going against idiots, total idiots. So, there's your answer on how, the freaking Confederates totally demolished the Union. Sorry for not uploading. I might try and upload more often. Maybe, maybe not. Up to me. Anyway, see ya.